All right, guys. Good to see everybody. I think, first of all, I'm going to start out saying how awesome the atmosphere was on Saturday night. I'm sitting there talking to the commissioner before the game, who, obviously if he's here, it's a big game. And just kind of looking around, feeling the festivities of pregame, and I thought it was awesome. I thought, and at the same time, I'm back in the back of the end zone, and we got all our recruits that are here for the game. And we had a ton of great recruits here and great families, and it was just it was fun to see and fun to be a part of. And the feedback we got from all the recruits and families, man, tremendous. Great feedback after the game throughout the whole weekend, which is awesome. We know we got to continue to recruit at a high level and bring some great players and families into this program, and this was a great weekend for that. So that was awesome, and then the fans were awesome. It was throughout the whole game, they were into it, they were loud. Our guys were feeding off of it. It was big time college football, and that's what it's all about, and that's what these recruits want to come play in. And so that was awesome to see. I'm really happy about that. I think. And then the game, obviously hashed the game over a million times and watched film, and just very disappointed in the fact we didn't finish. Hurt, pissed off, whatever you want to say. Hurting for our guys in that locker room. The one thing that our guys do, and they'll continue to do, is play their tails off. They work out that way. They practice that way. They go out in the field and play that way, and that gives us a chance and a great opportunity. And we've been in these games, and I'm proud of them for that. When we let them off the hook, essentially, Clemson, and that's the hurt thing. That's what makes us all mad and upset and angry, and it's motivation for our guys to continue to work. They know they're so close, and they came back yesterday and worked hard. They're back in the building today working out, and for me, I love being around them. I come into this building, I see them, I see their faces. I see how hard and passionate they are about what they're doing, and that puts joy in my life to be around these guys, And it's real easy to come around and start moping and all this, but not around them. When I'm around them and we we get on that field or we get in the weight room and that joy is there, and that's exciting for me, and that's why I'm optimistic about our program. That's why I'm optimistic about this football team because of the way they carry themselves. Anybody I've ever been around my whole life that work hard and do the things they do, they're going to have success, and that's what we're going to have, and we're going to keep fighting for that. And so, we're on to Syracuse, and Syracuse is a good football team. They have 5 wins at the season. They were off last week. They're number 3 rushing team in the country. I think their running back maybe number 2 in the country himself. He's a really, really good running back. Runs low to the ground. He's got good speed. I think about every game breaks off a 50-yard run. Just watching the film. And since they've settled in on Schrader, their quarterback, who a kid that I know recruited him back when he's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and ended up going to Mississippi State, transferred into Syracuse this year. And I think they were playing the other kid maybe early in the year, and then Schrader kind of came in and kind of settled in, and now he runs. I mean, he's a runner like Malik. He can run. He's about 6'4", 6'5", and they're really utilizing his legs along with the running back's legs. And now they have an identity on offense. And then defensively, a very aggressive defense. I'm not sure if they're number 1 in sacks in the ACC. I mean, I think they are. Yeah, I mean they're very aggressive. Tackles for loss and sacks. They're going to get after the quarterback. And really try to cause havoc with that. And so. It'd be imperative for us to be able to, occupy the ball, keep it away from their offense, and score touchdowns. I think that's going to be huge this week. They, like us, have been in a lot of games. They've lost 3 games by 3 points, I think. Clemson, Florida State, Wake Forest. The Wake Forest game was in overtime. And they've won their last 2. And, so they're sitting, pretty high right now after winning the last 2 games and then had a bye week. So, we know we'll get their best shot when they're coming in here, but we're looking forward to it. Our goal as a team right now, obviously, to go take care of this game, to be 1-0 this week, and then we've got 2 more games after that. So, but we're excited about this opportunity, about hosting Syracuse, and looking forward to it.
Scott, I just an update on Malik. How is he both physically and mentally?
Yeah.
Because it looked like he took Saturday's loss pretty hard.
Yeah, he took it hard. I mean, we all did. But he's doing good. He's in a much better place now. I think, I think his injury, I think he's going to be fine. We'll see. Sunday he was out on the field, didn't do a whole lot on Sunday. And, pretty optimistic about him getting back out for tomorrow and Wednesday's practice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean it's obviously been a sore subject really in the fourth quarter. We've played well the first three quarters. You go back and look at it, really well. And it's given us a chance and an opportunity in the fourth quarter. We've not finished games. We've not done the things we need to do, and offensively or defensively for that matter. And we know that you got to come down, you got to finish that. It's focus, it's adjustments, it's getting the ball in the hands of the playmakers offensively, and then it's doing the right things defensively, obviously. And it's probably everything, but it starts with me, making the right calls, and decisions that need to be made in the fourth quarter. Again, this past fourth quarter, I mean, and they're all different. I mean, there's different scenarios and different games, and we've been behind, we've been up, there's all kind of things that have happened. But this past game, we got in a lull and couldn't get anything going. And at the end of the third and in the beginning of the fourth, and then, we got the ball back, down 6 with a chance. And our guys did a great job to get down there. Now you just got to punch it in. Like I told our guys, if we punch it in and you score and you get the extra point, you win the game. I mean, and you played the same way, there'd be a lot more joy and excitement. But because we played pretty freaking good, we just didn't finish it there. So we just got to find a way. And our guys are to the point. It's like, not talking about it. We got to go do it. We just got to go prove it and do it. And that's kind of where we are. So we'll continue to work at it and see what we can do to better.
You walked on like a handful of plays onto the field. Why did you feel like you had to do that? And then also, is it time to put a radio in the helmet in college football quarterback?
Well, I think I mentioned this last Monday about having to do some things different offensively. Venables and Clemson over the years, they do a great job of getting signals, whatever how they do it, they get signals, and then also when you line down your offense, they do a great job of figuring out, okay, they're in 3-by-1 with a tight end. Here's what they like to do, and then he makes his call. So it gives him a lot more easier time to make his calls, and he gets their cleat dug in. And to me, they're a much better defense that way. And so we wanted to, huddle. I mean, if you notice, we huddled, a lot in the game and tried to limit our signals from the sideline. So there was times where I just run on the field and tell Malik to play, and he goes to the huddle and tell him. That was the reason behind it. And then I think we had success. I mean, the first drive, we went right down the field. It was a great drive and for a touchdown. And so I do think it was successful that we were able to do that. And we did that just because of what they did. And I think having done it that game, and I thought our kids did a great job. That's the first time I've ever done it. And these guys, we 1 week to prepare for that. And our players did a great job, our coaches and everybody. Because you think about with our players, they're used to just getting that signal and then going and lining down. And now they have to have verbal cues in a huddle where they're not used to doing that. They're used to just getting a signal and then going lining down. So that was difficult, and I was a little worried about penalties and such. And I think we may have gotten 1 or 2 with it, but man, they did an awesome job with that, and I think it gave us a great chance. And again, 400 yards, 24 points on a really good defense, and I think it worked.
Coach Ken Taylor from Wave TV, what are your thoughts on the last series, the goal-to-go situation, after you go back and look at the film? Kind of looked like Jalen might have gotten in maybe 1 block away from that play work, and some of the others, what kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I couldn't even sleep again last night thinking about those plays. It's it was we first play, we were thinking, okay, we think they were going to pack it all in. Let's go outside. And we ran the outside zone. It was very close to getting in. It was probably, get just inside the 2-yard line there. The next 3 plays, were pass plays, and I know we didn't throw it, but they were pass plays. And, Clemson did a pretty good job of defending those plays. And, some leaks ended up running around a little bit. But, the whole deal was, and we had I think it was a minute and 21 or a minute and 23 when we got the ball. and we didn't have any timeouts. And so a little bit nervous about running. We felt the first play we're going to be fine. We'll run that, and then we'll jump into the next play really quick, which we did. And then Dabo calls a timeout, really to stop the clock, which was actually good. So now we could actually regroup a little bit and figure out what we need to do for that third down. And then we called another pass play. Malik ended up, coming off the left side. Basically, it's for him on the edge. He can run pass option there. Ended up running it. And then now the clock's ticking down, and of course, to run the next play, you got to get it fast, which was a sprint out play, thinking pressure's coming, and we'll get outside of all that pressure. And we got two receivers in the flat and in the back of the end zone, and let Malik just buy time and maybe try to send it in the end zone. That was the thought. It didn't work out that way, but pretty good defense by Clemson on that play as well. So, I think. With the time, no timeouts and the time coming down, I think it had something to do with the plays that we did call within that scenario.
Scott, going back to recent fourth quarter struggles, how much of a mental hurdle has that created both with players and coaches alike, and what are you guys doing in attempts to try and tear that hurdle down?
Yeah. Well, I think during the game we don't think about it as, okay, here comes the fourth quarter. Oh, we haven't done well. I don't think we think that way. Our guys and our coaches and our players are just thinking, hey, what is this scenario right now? And offense is on the field. It's your job to get first downs and score touchdowns, and then defense is your job to stop them. I don't think we say, okay, now it's the fourth, let's get scared or whatever. I don't think it happens that way. But I do think that we have been talking about it. What can we do? And I think, again, our players are like, listen, we know what we got to do. We just got to go out there and do it. And it's the fourth quarter. Let's go finish the game. And it's not about the talk now. We got to have action. And so throughout the course of practice, we've tried to put them in some scenarios to, simulate that. It's hard to simulate it, until you really get into it. And really it's just focus, attention to detail, doing your job, doing the little things. The same things that they've done the first three quarters of these games, we got to carry it on to the last one.
Recognizing that Lamar Jackson was a generational talent, I'm wondering if you could reflect a little on his long-term impact on a program that does not seem evident from recruiting rankings or win-loss record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think he is a generational player, but even him coming out of high school, I don't know how highly ranked of a recruit he was. Okay, so yeah, he's he wasn't that highly ranked, and he's arguably one of the best to ever play, and so I think, sometimes the rankings get whatever wrong, whatever how you want to say that, I think, as a three-star player, I think there's a ton of three-star players playing right now in the NFL making a lot of money, and there's also five-star, it's four-star, those kind of guys. But I think it comes down to, in my opinion, you got to have talent, but it comes down to more what's right here, what's in the heart. With these players, and he's got as much heart as anybody going. And I think that's why he's obviously had talent. He's got size. He can run. He's got an arm, but he's got that something inside of him that makes it all go. And sometimes it's hard to measure that. It's hard to measure what's inside somebody. And but he's certainly a guy that will have. It'll be forever impact in this program. Of a guy that came through here and was able to do what he did. And have that kind of impact on not only college football, but now what he's doing in NFL is incredible. So he's going to be talked about forever, and we'll always talk about him to recruits and what he was able to do. And hey, and it doesn't matter what position you play, because these guys all relate to him. They don't care if they played a DB or receiver or whatever. They think they're Lamar Jackson, and for the fact that he was here, which is tremendous. And so. So yeah, we'll always use him and use him and his name and appreciate him for who he is, though, just the way he approaches the game. And I love the fact of how he always talks about everybody else but himself, and I think that's huge.
See how that resonates with recruits and guys who are growing up as he's an NFL star.
Yeah, I think so. I think because they see themselves, they can do what they think they can do what he did, and they think that, hey, man, I can come up through the ranks just like he did. Doesn't matter my position, and hopefully one day come play here and then go play in the NFL and be a great football player. It's lofty, it's dreamy, but it's certainly in their eyes it's obtainable, and I think which is awesome.
Scott, you were talking about the recruiting weekend. What was some of the feedback maybe that you guys have received early on? And how difficult is it to pull off a weekend like that when you've got such a big game? And I know to those guys, probably winning doesn't matter, but you're trying to win a game and you're trying to host all those guys.
It's extremely difficult. You got to have a lot of staff. We've hired a few. We need to hire some more in our recruiting department because there's so much going on. And then when you have a bunch of them like we had, how can you show attention to all of them? And their moms and their dads, and they got questions, and then the recruits, and we had several from out west that were here who maybe hadn't been here before, and coming in, some of the feedback was, man, we thought Kentucky was going to be just fields and farm and pastures. We didn't know it was a city like this. This is kind of cool, So they loved it. They loved this atmosphere, and they loved what we have to offer here, and then we had local kids that were here that had a ball and loved it. I think, all those things, but it takes a lot of manpower. There's a lot of moving parts because we had official visitors here. We had unofficial visitors that showed up on Friday. We had some more showed up on Saturday. There's so many things that are going on. You're trying to give a tour on campus. You're trying to give a tour to our facility. You're trying to make sure that the guys on OV and their family are taken care of, and meanwhile, we're trying to get ready for a game. It helped that it was a night game, so we did have a little bit more time on Saturday. To really spend more time with them, prior to the game. So, but I tell you, the feedback was awesome, and our recruiting department do an outstanding job with that. And then I think we did a good job coaching staff-wise. Hey, we are getting ready for a game, but we will spend time with these recruits as well.
Scott, is there, kind of going off Lamar, is there a memory you have of Lamar, whether it's watching him play before you coach here or an impression when you met him that stands out to you?
Well, I obviously remember watching him play. I loved watching him play because what he did offensively, is kind of what our offense was at the time, kind of what we were doing, some of the very similar things and what we're doing now with Malik, So, and he just did it at an incredible level. And so I loved that. And then I was when I first met him, I was kind of in awe. I was like, oh, man, that's Lamar, kind of starstruck, really. And I had no idea he was that tall. I thought he was going to be around a 6-foot kind of quarterback, man, but I don't know how tall he is, 6'2" or 3 or whatever. He is tall because I couldn't believe a guy could run like that at that size, that height, that had that height, because he runs like a little guy, and to be able to see him, I was like, oh, wow. And then how humble he was, on the field that day at practice when he came out. I'm just extremely humble and just want to hang out with the guys. And, he just wanted to be one of the guys when he was he's arguably the best player in sport and football. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about him.
Scott, when you watch these guys play, you're thinking about the catch that Justin Marshall had and Tyler Harrell and so many guys stepping up. Is it, I guess, in a way that easier to kind of stay optimistic about? You talked about you believe these guys are going to get over that hump because you're watching throughout the game. These guys kind of step up.
And I love the way they compete. They're just going to keep getting better the way they work. Anybody that works like our guys, you're going to get better. You're going to keep getting better. And then, as you keep playing, you're getting more and more experience, and you understand what we need to do. A guy like Tyler Harrell, like on a couple, let's see, on 2 of those runs, the 2 touchdown runs Malik had, Tyler Harrell's the main blocker out there. Did a tremendous job blocking, and him and Marshawn Ford both on both of those runs. Great run by Malik, but 2 great blocks that sprung him. And then Tyler, Tyler's a guy, every time he catches, I'm thinking he's getting ready to score. He's that kind of player, we got to give him the ball more. He's earned that right to play more and get the ball more because he caught that dig, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to go. We got a penalty on that play. We ended up bringing some of it back. But and then a tremendous throw and catch down the sideline, and then the 4th down you mentioned about Justin Marshall. The ball went right over one of their defenders' hands, right into his hand. He gets a foot down. It's a tremendous play. And Marshall's been playing a lot better, man, the last few weeks. And, so, yeah, we got a lot of good players, and I love being around them. And they're going to keep getting better, and we're going to win these games. That's the bottom line. And we got to have that thought process, and our guys do. And so, again, yeah, I'm excited about them. Yeah, I mean, we obviously miss Trey. I mean, Trey's a really, really good football player. You think about what he did at NC State just a week earlier with, I think, he had 4 or 5, batted, knocked down balls on people trying to take advantage of him, and he wasn't allowing it. We got to be better out there. I mean, they hit a couple plays on us on the post route early in the game there on that first drive. And then I think there was a couple more they hit on the outside there. And we had a few penalties, in the secondary that really hurt us. As you think about the drive extending penalties, PI and a defensive holding, and then Fago's unfortunate targeting. Which, I mean, we can talk about targeting for a while, I think, but that extended. That was going to be 3rd and 6, and now it's first down, 15 yards closer to the end zone. They end up scoring. I mean, it's so the penalties really hurt us in this past game. In those drives, they end up scoring 17 points on those drives where we had the penalties.
You mentioned Schrader earlier, but and obviously the running game. What do you think the key is with Tucker? And then, they do seem to be a lot better with Schrader, and he just seems to kind of take control of that offense.
Yeah, what he has is a lot of confidence. He plays with that confidence, and just knowing him, I know he's a confident player, and he's got a lot of ability. Because he's different than Malik because he's 6'5". He's a strong runner. He'll run you over. He'll try to run you over, but he also, once he gets out, he can go with those long strides. And so I think the thing that they've done now, they got an identity. They feel good about either him running or handing it to that running back. And what he does a great job. He's got great vision. He's always got a good forward lean. And then what's impressive about the running back is that when he does break through, and if he gets to that next level, he can go. I mean, he like I said, I mentioned he's been over 50-yard carries in about every game, and that's impressive. They have not been as good passing the ball. That's kind of been their weak link, but they've run it so well they really hadn't needed much of the pass. So obviously the key of the game will be stopping the run and making sure we're in all the gaps to be able to contain the running back and the quarterback.
Scott, you mentioned obviously you said it was hard for you to sleep the other day. As a coach, well, kind of a two-part question. Have you ever been through something like this where it's been 3 games by 10 points combined, just like close loss after close loss? And 2, as a coach, how do you go about changing either the drastic changes or slight changes you make during the week leading up to games?
Well, I've been in seasons where we've had a lot of close games. We've won a lot of them. I can't really call we're losing like the games we've lost. I feel like we've mainly been on the upper end of those throughout my career, and and we talked about it all the time. It's such a fine line from winning and losing. I mean, it's I go my senior year. I know it was a long time ago. We were 11-0 in regular season, but every game was one possession. We just won them in the end in the fourth quarter, and because it's hard to win college football games. You could ask any coach in the country. It's hard to win. Even the ones that are winning a lot, it's hard to win. And you have to fight for every single one of these wins. These teams you're playing, they got scholarships too, and they got good coaches, and nobody's just going to lay down for you. You got to go take it. You got to go make the plays when they're there to be made. And when you don't, it will cost you. And but another example, we had an interception right before the half. Chandler hits him right in the chest. We don't catch it, and they score a touchdown. You have to be able to make the plays when they're there to be made, and that's all of our guys. And then us as coaches, we have to do the best job we can possibly do to put our players in position to make those plays. That's our job. And so, you talk about any adjustments. I mean, that's what we have to do as coaches to find out, all right, who needs to be in the game and what do we need to be doing with the guys that are in the game. That's our job as coaches, to set our guys up for success. So hopefully that we make those adjustments, the right adjustments as coaches, and our kids make the plays. All right? Thanks, guys.